Norman train tracks turn deadly again. Big changes coming to Norman rail crossings, and award-winning journalists gather at OU. This is OU Nightly. It happened again for the third time in less than a month. A Norman freight train has killed a man. As
OU Nightly's Anna Whitney shows us, the accident occurred in the pre-dawn hours in the same area where another man recently died.
The death happened here at Constitution Street early this morning. Police still have not identified the latest victim. On Monday morning, it was at the Duffy Street crossing where 33-year-old James Kenneth Irons threw himself in front of a train. On September 12th, the first victim, Isaac Lee Tevault, was struck on the tracks between Brooks and Constitution.
In what seems like an epidemic here in Norman, citizens are wondering what can be done to save lives.
The Norman Police Department's Sarah Jensen shares what they're doing to stop the deaths.
Where we actually put police officers on the trains and they call out enforcement issues, whether it's people that are trying to drive through crossings or pedestrians that aren't following the proper protocol. We are constantly working to do enforcement and education because we both know both are important to solving these issues.
Jensen confirmed the man killed this morning was trying to take pictures of the train and was too close when he was struck. Anna Whitney, OU Nightly.
Norman PD urges citizens to pay attention to signs posted by train crossings and to never walk along the tracks.
3 deaths from trains alone in these past 2 weeks is seeming less like a coincidence every day. Could these deaths be linked? OU psychologist Ryan Brown says there are many factors similar in these deaths, including age, and although the cause of death has not been confirmed, Dr. Brown said he would be surprised if these deaths were not suicides.
If someone is thinking about ending their life and they see someone else ending their life in a dramatic way that gets media attention, for example, that might suggest a mechanism for them for ending their own life.
Train traffic here in Norman, loud and clear, has been for years. Now, OU Nightly's Amy Schneebeck tells us the bearing whistle blast will soon be a thing of the past.
The all too familiar sound that has been giving several Norman residents a headache for years. But Norman residents will soon see a solution with a quiet zone. Norman Railways will become a quiet zone with just a minor change: raised barriers. These barriers prevent cars from driving through or around the gates, and the sirens will continue to ring while gates are lowered. These changes eliminate the need for a whistle warning from the train, a change some say is needed. Norman residents will soon get some peace and quiet. Amy Schneebeck, OU Nightly.
We apologize about the technical difficulties, but since June, 5 people have been killed on Oklahoma railways, and 2 more were killed last month.
A train plowed through a major station today. Shireen Hashem joins us with more in the newsroom.
There was another
Shireen.
Okay.
Intro. Ready? Take up.
Shireen joins
There
us
was
now with
another
the news
deadly
center.
train accident.
Go ahead, Shireen.
What's going on?
Start talking.
There was another deadly train accident this morning in Hoboken, New Jersey. That's where a commuter train crashed through a barrier and into the terminal. The train left the tracks at full speed, killing 1 woman and injuring more than 100 others. Investigators are trying to determine what fatal error caused the accident. A medical helicopter crash landed this morning in Lawton, just outside the Comanche County Memorial Hospital. There were no patients on board, but 4 crew members were injured. Officials say none of the injuries are serious. There is no word on what caused the crash. And Gary Johnson had another Aleppo moment today. When asked by MSNBC to name his favorite foreign leader, he couldn't think of one. That's what's happening around the world. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Shireen. The state has charged a Ponca City man with possession and distribution of child pornography. An undercover investigation found Larry Curtis Wright allegedly sharing pornography over the internet. Wright is being charged with 5 felony counts, including distribution and aggravated possession of child pornography. If Wright is convicted, he could face up to life in prison and fines worth $90,000.
Well, it's a great day outside. I'm really enjoying all these, low temperatures. What about you?
Yeah, like fall weather type temperatures.
Yeah.
Sawyer, what can you tell us about what we can expect?
Well, these fall temperatures are going to continue with us into next week, which is very nice. And that's mainly due to this low pressure system up in the northeast, creating this big, just big ridge, just this big kind of hill over us, just of really nice temperatures. Our next rainmaker, though, is up in the northwest right now. You can see part of that boundary down into Arizona. There's even some flash flood watches and warnings in Utah right now. But here in Norman right now, calm winds out of the north, gusting to 5 or 7 miles an hour, 45% humidity, and 70 degrees. So really nice day outside. Now coming up in a little bit, we'll talk more about these fall temperatures and how long they're going to stay here. And then we do have the potential for a system next week. But I'll have more on that in just a little bit. Until then, back to you guys.
Thanks, Sawyer. A Tulsa County judge has denied Tulsa police officer Betty Shelby's request for an expected hearing. Shelby is currently being charged with first-degree manslaughter in the fatal shooting of Terrence Crutcher. Shelby's attorney Scott Wood says his client will plead not guilty during her formal arraignment on Friday. Wood also said Shelby was so focused that she didn't hear other officers arrive on the scene to help her.
Still ahead on OU Nightly, award-winning journalists talk trauma coverage.
Plus, local pharmacies are getting a head start on flu season.
It was a special day for journalism and for some OU professors and former students at Gaylord College. Shay Smith shows us why.
This year marks the 100th anniversary of the Pulitzer Prize, and the Gaylord College was one of 6 organizations who sponsored a panel about the impact of trauma coverage. Today's focus was the culture of trauma coverage before and after the internet.
You have to do good work and say, look at my good work. And I'm not completely comfortable with it, although I'm trying to get the page for my younger colleagues who, tweet out all their stories. And the self-promotion, because you have to.
The panel included experts ranging from Pulitzer Prize winners to foreign correspondents. The events gave a special tribute to a fellow Oklahoman, Anthony Shadid, a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner who died in 2012 while on an assignment in Syria. The panel discussed the differences in reporting now with social media and certain traumatic events that they have experienced. Foreign correspondent Hannah Alam said her most important advice involves journalism and the journalist.
I just think, yes, you can go out and do these stories, but you have to take care of yourself and others and guard the sort of craft of the news, accuracy and ethics and relevance.
Shay Smith, OU Nightly.
The last event for the Pulitzer Centennial was at 3 this afternoon on the UCO campus.
And flu season is always a big concern, but this season may be worse than normal. Rebecca Walters joins us now with more on that. Rebecca?
Carson, with flu season creeping up on us, officials from the CDC are more worried than usual. That's because vaccination coverage declined by 1.5% last season. That means only 46% of Americans got their flu shots. The decrease was even worse for the elderly, who are far more susceptible to the illness. Only 44% of Americans aged 50 to 64 got vaccinated last season, and that's 3.4% less than the year before. Toddlers were the best protected last season. 75% of children aged 6 to 23 months old received their flu shots. But you can get vaccinated as early as next week. The state of Oklahoma will begin offering flu vaccinations statewide on October 3rd. And maybe it's time for customers to Lego their Eggo. The Kellogg Company announced a recall of 10,000 cases of waffles last week. The popular Nutri-Grain waffle is worried to be contaminated with listeria. The recall is just another in a long list of recent recalls, including Bluebell ice cream, frozen vegetables, and raw milk. If you're worried you might have some recalled waffles, you can visit our website for more details. And some big cities are making small changes for the health of their citizens. 27 cities across the U.S. are opting for street lamps with lower color temperatures. That means city officials are installing streetlights with less blue light emission. The American Medical Association suggests lights with high color temperatures could cause eye damage and disrupt sleep patterns. And the CDC has approved an artificial pancreas, which is really good for people with type 1 diabetes.
Oh, that's great. I actually have a friend who has type 1 diabetes, so that would be really, really beneficial for them.
Yeah, that would be big for them. Thanks
Rebecca.
Rebecca. 2 religious colleges in Oklahoma and Missouri are holding out of this year's NAIA Cross Country Championship because the meet was relocated from North Carolina in response to the state law limiting LGBT protections. Oklahoma Wesleyan and the College of the Ozarks have cited similar reasons that the NAIA should give female athletes the dignity of having their own restrooms.
Still, here on OU Nightly, some local stores are giving away free coffee and donuts today.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. Now, temperatures across the state today have just been beautiful. 72 degrees here in Norman right now and up in Oklahoma City and just basically everywhere. You can even see down in Idabel, 76 degrees. So we've had this really kind of consistent temperature outlook even across the entire nation, really, because of the systems that are coming through. The temperature difference between the northwest and the southeast right now is only 8 to 10 degrees. So that's kind of unusual for this time of year, and it's really, really cool. Now tonight, talking about cool, 50 degrees here in Norman, so if you are going outside, you're going to need a jacket. Upper 40s to lower 50s across much of the state. Again, really, really consistent temperatures throughout. Overall, though, it's looking really nice. This is right around what we're expecting for this time of year. Excuse me. And then highs for tomorrow, again, another story like today. Although the difference is if I step out here for a second, you see Idabel, 79 degrees, so upper 70s. And then even out in Guyman tomorrow, 81 degrees is what we're predicting. So overall, it's looking, again, like a really nice day, and this is going to continue. Unfortunately, for places like Cuba and stuff, it's not looking really nice. We've got Hurricane Matthew, which just became a hurricane around 1 p.m. today. You can really see over the past 12 hours that it really started getting this defined eye. And it's really the telltale sign that the tropical system is strengthening. When it gets that eye and it gets rolling, it's really strong. Now, over the next 5 days, it's doing kind of an interesting little trick here. It wants to go west, and then we expect it to strengthen by about 1 a.m. Saturday, Friday or so, into a Category 2 hurricane, and then just take a big dart straight north. Places in eastern Cuba are looking to make landfall, and earlier models were showing that it would weaken a little bit down to a Category 1, even down to a tropical storm for just a little bit. The latest advisory that came out at 4 p.m. today shows it continuing up at a Category 2. And now after this, it does kind of a weeble wobble in a sense. It looks like it's going to continue on up, potentially making landfall in North Carolina, if not there in the northeast. But right now we're not having to worry about that. Like I showed you earlier, we had this low pressure system just kind of sitting out here, just meandering around. And then our next storm system all out in the west, and it's going to move towards our area as far as we go into next week, around Tuesday and Wednesday timeframe. Allergies outside right now. If you've been outside, I know I've been sniffling. I know a lot of other people have been. Grass and weeds is really high, and unfortunately, that's not going to really go anywhere until we get a nice freeze. So future, as far as we look into the future right now, going through Friday and Saturday, I'm going to step out just for a second. You can see that system really just kind of just staying out there, and then our next low pressure system is really going to weaken these highs and create a nice little boundary to come on into our area Tuesday into Wednesday. Still a little too far out to get specific on how much rain we're looking at, but overall it's looking like we could get maybe ½ an inch to an inch, if that. During the game, a game day forecast for OU down in Fort Worth, upper 70s, southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then as we look into the 7 days, 74 degrees for a high tomorrow, sunny skies throughout, nice day. It's going to be cool during the night, so if you are going outside, make sure to take a jacket. And then we get into 80s next week, lower 80s with those chances of rain coming in mainly Tuesday night into Wednesday. But until we get to that part, it's still a little too far out to get specific on the details.
Man, that's really nice weather.
Yeah. Is there any way we can keep this forever, you know?
I wish we could.
Yeah.
I wish we could. Hopefully we can.
Yeah.
That would be the nice thing to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Sawyer. Now we turn it over to Holden Krusemark to give us a look at the latest in the Big 12 expansion. Holden?
That's right, Carson. David Bourne talks Big 12 expansion, and David Ortiz surprises a few Bostonians. Sports is straight ahead. And we're back. The past 2 years against TCU has been a tall task for the Sooners. After losing a close game 2 years ago in Fort Worth to Stephen Parker standing tall at the goal line last year, the TCU-OU series is unpredictable, but one thing is assured, it's gonna be a thriller. Jordan Evans talks more about the pesky Frogs.
Since my freshman year has always been a close game. I think my freshman year was like, one touchdown game. Sophomore year, we lost by a few points. It's just been a close game. TCU's a great team, well coached, so, we can expect their best. We can go ahead and expect the same thing coming up this weekend.
Baker Mayfield's journey to college football prominence has been a weird one. Though journeyman Texas Tech walk-on who made his way to Norman after losing the starting job to Davis Webb, Mayfield was granted an extra year of eligibility this year, something he touched on at Big 12 Media Days.
Obviously very thankful for getting the year back and the Big 12 making the right decision for guys that pay their own way to school and they make a choice that if they want to go somewhere they want, they should have that freedom to do so, and I think that's the right thing, and they made the right decision.
So why exactly am I bringing this back up? Well, it might have a big impact on his potential career in the NFL. This year, 6 quarterbacks have made their first ever start in the NFL, going 11-2 so far. 5 of those same quarterbacks were also college attendees for 5 years, something Mayfield can achieve if he stays on at OU for next season. Now, I'm not saying Baker Mayfield will be the next Russell Wilson, but if he is, you know where you heard it first. Big 12 expansion was the talk of the town this summer after OU President David Bourne expressed concerns over having a smaller conference, saying that the Big 12 is at a psychological disadvantage. What once seemed a done deal now seems up in the air with reports that TCU and Texas are against conference expansion. Even Bourne has said, "I would just caution you and say I would not take expansion as a given." Last night, the Sooners volleyball team took on the rivals from south of the Red River. The 4th-ranked Longhorns were put to the test early on, with OU taking the first set 25-22. Junior middle blocker Marion Hazelwood did set a career high with 19 kills. Unfortunately for the Sooners, it wouldn't be enough as Texas took 3 straight sets, winning 3-1. And Tim Tebow, welcome to the big instructional league. While only being an instructional league game, Tim Tebow does tee off here in his first official at-bat since his junior year of high school. Never give up, Timmy T. Having one of the best baseball seasons a 40-year-old has ever had, David Ortiz decided to have a little fun during his final season, posing as a Lyft driver. Big Papa surprised a few fans.
He's retiring though. This is his last year.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
Is that right?
I have like 2 of his shirts that I wear.
Actually, all of my shirts are his shirts.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, all mine are too.
Because I'm David Ortiz.
What? Oh my god. Oh my god.
What's up?
Now, we see all these videos popping up all over the place, but, I never get Russell Westbrook or any of the other Thunder players, so I don't know what's up with this stuff.
I don't know. I would probably react the same way, if Russell Westbrook or Steven Adams was in my humor. Thanks, Holden. Well, still to come on OU Nightly, we'll have another look at the 5-day forecast.
And coffee lovers celebrate a special holiday. Straight ahead on OU Nightly.
This is an OU TV Sports Brief. I'm Madeline Roberts. After going 1-2 in non-conference play, the Sooners are ready for their Big 12 conference opener. After taking down TCU in dramatic fashion last season, OU will look to win its 2nd straight against the Horned Frogs Saturday in Fort Worth at 4 p.m. And the volleyball team dropped its 5th straight match last night against rival Texas at McCaslin Fieldhouse. OU won the first set 25-22 before losing 3 straight close sets. The Sooners will look to get back on track in their match against TCU on Saturday at noon in Fort Worth. And it's officially Tebow time in New York, but this time on a different field. The NFL quarterback turned Mets outfielder went yard on the first pitch of his first game as a professional baseball player. Tebow ended up 1 for 6 with no strikeouts in the game. This was an OU TV Sports Brief. I'm Madeline Roberts. Be sure to watch OU Nightly weekdays at 4:30 right here on OU TV. Good night.